If you just joined us, you are right in time for Ghana Tonight. I'm Kemeni Amano. If you want to be a part of the program, get in touch with us as we stream live on Facebook, on X, and on YouTube. Remember to use the hashtag GhanaTonight. Right now, let's bring you a quick summary of the evening's top stories.
More elderly women and persons of mixed nationality joined day 2 of the Stop the Galamsey and Free the Citizens protest. Despite the protesters blocking some major intersections, drivers and commuters cheered on the protesters.
If you are to meet the president now, what should be your message to the president?
Oh, we need to stop fooling around and we need to create jobs so that people can have better things to do than to destroy water bodies.
Peaceful protesting is a way of showing our leaders that we are serious about the situation. It is a dire and desperate situation, and we need to act now.
I support papa. Menyanka mbaya 1 week. Na Akufo-Addo kura who said the ekosu yes, me support.
I really support 100%. Yes. Me manage ho de amoye na pa me kura nye adwuma me koya ayo bi adwuma aka me gina mu didinde. Me papa because the
Ghana Water Company says its supply of water in the central region has improved through the effort of the Central Regional Security Council in dealing with illegal mining. The company last month expressed concerns about the impact of pollution which was affecting its work. The Heman water treatment is currently recording an average stability of 9,000 NTUs as compared to the previous average stability of 14,000 NTUs through the efforts of the Central Regional Security Council. As a result of this event, production at the plant has now increased from 1,981,000 gallons a day to 2,800,000 gallons. The vice presidential candidate for the MPP, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, has expressed shock at former President John Mahama for taking prayers from religious leaders he accused recently as hypocrites. Speaking during a derby at a francho in the Efijai, Kwabre south of the Ashanti region, Dr. Opoku-Prempeh says the NDC has consistently shown a lack of respect for traditional leaders.
He claimed pastors and imams are praying for me and traditional leaders are performing libations in my favor, which means these people are all hypocrites. But few days after this, we all saw him bow down for pastors to pray for him. And few days after that, we saw him in the king's palace. A person who does not respect you and your customs will always take you for granted.
For the second time this year, Ghana's growth targets is up for review. The International Monetary Fund says it will review Ghana's growth targets upwards to reflect positive developments in the Ghanaian economy. This follows a successful staff-level agreement reached between government and the IMF on a third review of Ghana's extended credit facility.
Ghana Brief there for you. Now, more than a week since citizens were put behind bars for marching against illegal and unethical mining, tonight we do a quick check on them as pressure mounts for their release. Now let's get into it. If you recall, more than 50 protesters were rounded up by the police and remanded subsequently. Many of them are still behind bars, and I want to bring in more on this conversation. And this is how we're going to start. Anti-Galamsey protesters ended their second day of protest, demanding an end to illegal and unethical mining. The protesters climaxed their march with a petition which they presented at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Tonight, they go home, but return on Saturday to renew their calls on the president to put an end to Galamsey and free more than 50 protesters who we spoke about earlier, arrested in a previous demonstration. Let's take a listen to a few of those who spoke to today.
Message to the president.
Oh, we need to stop fooling around, and we need to create jobs so that people can have better things to do than to destroy water bodies. These people that are here today, they care a lot about Ghana. That's why they're here.
Just like you.
Passionately and strongly that we need to do something. And protesting, peaceful protesting, is a way of showing our leaders that we are serious about the situation. It is a dire and desperate situation, and we need to act now.
You support what is happening?
Yes, I do.
You support what's happening?
I do.
Regardless of the traffic situation?
I do, because what's happening in the country is really bad. You know, Galamsey is spoiling all our water bodies and everything around us, including our food.
Me support pa.
Who support
Pa.
Who support
Pa.
Ah, me support pa. Me nyanka mbeye 1 week.
1 week.
Na akufo adokro hu say de ekoso no nye. Yes, me support to.
I really support 100%. Yes. Me manage ho de amoye na ye pa. Me kra nya adwuma me koya ayi obi adwuma aka me ginam de dende. Me papa because amoye wi amo senso normal so amo ba de gugu abrochi na ye de eni binti na ye te ha.
Support. So the one we am say nsio nsio nyina say. Ntia support.
Who support?
So they're a mix of protesters and, ordinary citizens who were going by their daily activities on the streets of Accra today. Now, if you recall, it's been at least 8 days since a group of Ghanaians who were calling for an end to illegal mining were rounded up by the police, subsequently remanded, and are now in prison and police custody. Now, there's been wide calls for their release, but all of these have fallen on deaf ears. Tonight, we pay a keen attention to the plight of the 54 men and women. But first, let's get updates on the day 2 of the protest and how tomorrow will look like in the capital city, Accra. Albert Owusu-Boadu is convener for Free the Citizens, excuse me. Albert, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us here. I mean, you have ended second day of the protest. How would you describe today's event? Albert, you're muted. Albert Owusu-Boadu, who's fixing his audio situation there, is convener for Free the Citizens. We want to find out from them what the last day of protest is going to look like, what they think they have achieved, in the last 2 days since hitting the streets, demanding, an end to Galamsey, but also asking for those protesters, citizens of this country who were arrested in the previous protest, to be released. Albert is back. Albert, let's try you again. Day 2 of the protest, how would you describe the event?
I can't actually hear you properly. The sound is low. I can't actually hear you properly.
Well, I'm asking how you will describe today's event.
Oh, okay. So today's event was successful, as expected. I believe that at the end of the day, we achieved what we wanted to achieve today. We got a rep from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to actually take our petition at our final destination today. I believe that was one of the things that we wanted to achieve today. We also sent a very clear message out there to government officials and everybody, to Ghanaians, that Galamsey must stop now and then free the citizens who have been arrested for trying to, for going out there to protest and say that let's stop Galamsey now. The issues on Galamsey are very, very, dangerous. The effects of it are very dangerous. And I believe that if we don't voice out now, as a people, we do not know when it is going to, get out of hand. So far, our 16 rivers have actually gone bad, and to be very honest, if we don't do anything about it, we might start importing water, and we might all be dying of kidney diseases. Because who knows, the food or the tilapia you like best, or the fufu you like best, the acheke you like best, might probably be prepared with what? Galamsey water mixed with cyanide or mercury. So today we sent our message out there clearly, and hopefully tomorrow we are going to continue and end it.
Indeed. So far so good. But Albert, do you think that your voices are being heard enough? Albert, I try again. I'm asking if you think that your voices are being heard.
Yeah, I don't. If the government is not going to listen to us, then I don't know who else will ever listen to. We are the future of this country. We are the youth. And if the youth is out there saying that, you know what, let's stop this Galamsey issue, let's stop it all together, and then move on as a country where we would have, at least stop Galamsey. All mining activities should be stopped for at least a year, so that we can all go back to the drawing board and then make sure that the right things are being done. Yes, there are people with legal licenses who are actually mining, but a lot of them have gone past their concessions, and they are, hiding behind legal licenses to do illegal things. What is the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources doing about it? What is the government doing about it? And so we believe that, we the youth of this country believe that if we put on hold for at least a year all mining activities, we can all go back to the drawing board and do the right thing.
I see. And when your Very well. When your petition was received, what was the response that you got from the ministry?
Okay, so we gave the letter. They sent a rep from the ministry to come forward, and they assured us that they are going to deliver our petition to the minister, and then they will get back to us. They are going to act on it, and so we are hoping that they will act on whatever demands we've made and all that. So definitely, we are hoping to get a response. And so tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow we'll move on. Yeah.
I see. And tomorrow is the last day of the 3-day protest. What should the Ghanaian people expect?
So tomorrow is actually the very last day of our protest. And tomorrow, at our final destination, we'll be holding a night vigil, especially for our comrades or friends who were, arrested unconstitutionally and are remanded. About 54 of them. We're going to hold a night vigil for them. And also, we are hoping to mount a very big giant screen where we'll be showcasing, the effects of Galamsey from, journalists like Rastos Asaredonko. We were hoping that would actually get him on board to actually give us some presentation as to the work he has done concerning illegal mining. And so, but I don't know if we'll get him, but tomorrow, hopefully, there's going to be a series of activities. You're going to have, some doctors talk to us as to what exactly we will be facing if we do not stop Galamsey now, and the effects of Galamsey on our health. For some of us, we have been saying that, Ghana already has, a major problem regarding our health sector. And so imagine that dialysis machines are not enough and all that. Do you think that if the entire country, 33 million people approximately, end up being on dialysis, can we even afford it? Can we get everybody on a dialysis machine? Is it even possible?
Very well.
We already have issues with the health sector. So
Indeed.
So for some of us, that is what we're actually talking about. Tomorrow, we'll be projecting videos on all videos that we've seen on social media regarding Galamsey and whatnot that is actually happening.
Very well, Albert, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you so much. Albert Owusu-Boadu is the convener for Free the Citizens, the group that is organizing the protests tomorrow as well. They've also been asking that the over 54, the over 50 protesters who were arrested in the previous demonstration be released. We'll keep an eye on that protest and bring you developments as and when they emerge. But we'll stay on the subject because Labour is also at the forefront of this charge against illegal mining. Right now, they are at the brink of a crucial decision as it comes under fire not to give in to presidential demands. Let's get into that right now. Tonight, a call to action for organized labor. The largest employee group in the country will go on strike come October 10th, and that's because government has failed to meet the deadline to declare a state of emergency on Galamsey or in Galamsey ravaged communities. Since the strike announcement, government has made moves to meet leadership of labor. One such meeting was held on Thursday. Now, this engagement saw the president plead with labor to give it more time. Now, will Labour agree to that? That's an important question for the simple reason that President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has had 8 years, a lot of time to deal with the canker of illegal and unethical mining. Back to the question, will organized labour strike or not? Will they heed to the calls of the president? Now, remember, they have rejected similar proposals after previous meetings with the head of the recently formed Interministerial Task Force. Now, will organized labor have the audacity to turn down the president? It's hard to say at this time, and I'll tell you why. We know leadership of organized labor has gone mum since meeting with the president. Off the air, they have told us meetings will take place between now and Monday to decide their next line of action. And I want you to stay with me here because I'm going somewhere with this. The lull between now and when that decision is taken is what has got many on the edge of their seats and pressuring organized labor not to back down on a good cause. My next guest is one of many voices speaking out in support of organized labor. Franklin Cudjoe is president of Imani Africa. Well, my understanding is Franklin is not ready, but that's a conversation we want to have because labor today has been in meetings. We know that these meetings will continue until a decision is taken on Monday as to whether or not next Thursday they will be laying down their tools in demand on the president to declare a state of emergency, put an end to illegal and unethical mining, or they may just stand off, perhaps not embark on a strike because the president has pled with them and they have agreed with President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So two things we expect Labour to do: go on strike or do not go on strike. But that period, that waiting period, is become a source of concern for many who are watching because, listen, they think the president has had enough time and a few days will not change anything. Labour should go on strike. Let's bring in Franklin Cudjoe now. He's founding president of Imani Africa. Franklin, good evening to you. Many thanks for staying up to talk to us. The president has 2 more months to go, yet he asked for more time. What does this say to you?
I think the president knows Ghanaians, and I think that probably he doesn't even know the Ghanaian any longer. He's probably not even reading the room properly. I think he's assuming that we've forgotten that he said about 7 years ago, or was it 5 years ago, that he was prepared to put his presidency on the line to fight Galamsey. And he's failed. I mean, he's failed all this while. And for him to be asking for injury time to be able to do anything, he's already injured. I don't see what he can do or play in injury time. So I'm just being metaphorical, sarcastic. But seriously speaking, I think the organized labor should ignore him and then just go ahead with their protest.
I see. I mean, when you juxtapose that to utterances from members of the NPP, do you think the president is just buying himself time so perhaps the NPP will not suffer a defeat as a result of Galamsey perhaps in the elections?
Actually, the plot has been well laid, and it's a grand plot. Well, of course, it's out now, so it's no longer a plot. If you listen to the assigns of this government, some of the very rabid assigns, you get angry, and you probably don't have to get angry because you now understand why NATO is also playing games with our minds. But they are saying that, look, they are not going to do anything about Galamsey until after December 7th. That's assuming they want power. And they are so important in thinking that they will win in the first place. And they are saying that they are not going to do anything about Galamsey and that nobody can blackmail them. So one assign of the government told me this morning, and I put up his quotes on my Facebook wall, that he was prepared. I mean, they are not going to do anything at all, and that nobody can blackmail them into submission. And that they'll continue, the match should continue until after December 7th. So the president asking for time is actually part of the plan. And look, don't talk about it. And trust me, he's not going to do anything. Anything signed, even if he signs a paper with his blood, trust me, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen until December 7th. Probably after December 7th, yeah.
On the other hand, is organized labor, and you'd say that they have all the power now to ensure that something concrete is done between now and December polls. But here we are, they are now, taking meetings with the president. They're saying they would meet amongst themselves and decide whether or not to listen to the president's plea. How concerning is this lull from now until organized labor takes a decision?
Well, as you know, organized labor, for me, I really don't fall them. First of all, people have said, well, they shouldn't have stated the 10th of October. They should have just gone ahead of that, September 30th. Organized labor is made up of several bodies, right? There are about 72 of them or 77. So you can understand that they are slow in reaching decisions. But I think at this stage, they've already reached a decision. They can't go back on. And it is the case that a strike must happen. And so by they saying they want to talk to themselves before they talk to the public, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. But I think they'll be making a very silly mistake if the leadership decide that this strike will not go ahead. I'm sure the members of the labor, members who call for their heads. But I don't think they'll even risk it at all. But look, for me, at the end of the day, demonstrations may not necessarily cause a stubborn leader who doesn't want to listen for anything to happen. Nothing will change. But at least it will send the indicators, it send the signals to the international community that our president doesn't care and that the government doesn't care at all. Right.
I see. I want to talk about developments that have come up today. Today we hear the Ghana Water Company say that turbidity of some of the waters they have been observing has gone down from what used to be 14,000 NTU to 9,000 NTU. Do you believe this? Are you impressed?
Oh, madam, listen, nobody is interested in seeing our waters or rivers blooding all through. So even if there's some level of some progress, why not? We should celebrate it. But you see, I'm not interested in trying to find out motives. I don't want to question motives and all of that. The fact of the matter is it's just like there's just a silver lining in a very dark cloud. At the end of the day, that story, even though uplifting, doesn't change the fact that the whole almost 60% of our rivers have been turned virtually brown. So it's progress. And even if all the rivers turn pristine right away, I don't think we should let the government on the hook at all. We have to punish them, and the government has been punished severely for being very, 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 very recalcitrant and very, very, what word should I use? Very disrespectful way of our values and of our humanity.
Very well, Franklin. I appreciate you talking to us. Thank you so much. Franklin, indeed. Franklin Kudjo is founding president of Imani Africa. We've been talking about the president's engagement with Labour Thursday, which has also, kick-started a number of consultative meetings among the labor unions who form or organized labor. At this point, I'd like to bring in my next guest who has been writing about the demonstrators or the protesters, the citizens of this country who are still behind bars, for coming out onto the streets to demonstrate and ask the president to put an end to illegal and unethical mining. Dr. Arthur Kennedy is joining us from the U.S. Via Zoom on this subject. Doc, good evening to you.
Good evening to you and your viewers.
Indeed. Doc, I've been reading your article, and one of the things that you do is you draw a parallel between young Akufo-Addo and, the protesters of today who have been put behind bars. Why was that significant for you?
It was significant for me because when people get into power, they must be conscious of history.
Oh, did we lose him? It looks like we have lost. It looks like we have lost Dr. Arthur Kennedy. Doc, we lost you for a little bit. So why don't you start your thought process for us?
Sure. I mean that whenever power. To begin with the personal angle, which is what you brought up, I'm saying that Nana Addo is a very
No, that we are not lucky with the connection today. For some reason, the connection is terrible. But Dr. Arthur Kennedy there has been writing about the citizens of this country who've been marching against illegal mining, who've been rounded up, remanded into police and prison custody. Let's try again, Doc. Hopefully this time we can get the full import of what you say.
So I'm saying that to be personal angle, Nana Addo himself started in 1978 with the People's Movement for Freedom and Justice, where people like Afrifa and Bedema and others were attacked by goons of the Achampon regime, also under Kumi Preko. He sent people in the streets and some of them lost their lives. In 1979, he had been one of the lawyers for some of the people who were freed under AFRC convictions and led to the death of the judges. So he has been firmly on the side of for democracy and civil rights, and it is a tragedy that his government should be doing what is being done to the protesters who are now behind bars. And I also even take a broader look that this is not strange because throughout history, power has always, or force, has always been an instrument of the powerful and not necessarily on the side of justice. So I go on to the Aborigines Rights Protection Society, and I think that if they were doing what they did then in today's Ghana, they will all be behind bars. And I give other examples, going as far back to South Africa and even in Nkrumah's leadership of our independence struggle. But to sum up, I am saying that our country is in crisis. What is happening is an assault on our country and its sovereignty. When the police in a country will protect those who are polluting water, forcing pregnant women mercury-contaminated water, and destroying our forests, and security agencies decide that those who are protesting this deserve to be arrested rather than the criminals, we are in trouble. We are in trouble. And I think every Ghanaian should look at this as a defining moment when one cannot sit on the fence. You are either against Galamsey or you are with the Galamseyers. And the government has been complicit by refusing to prosecute people like Aisha Wang, by having ministers and other powerful people involved in Galamsey by having military and police openly protect Galamseyers, we have lost our sovereignty.
And that's why you rightly, say that the protesters are the wrong defendants. But what you say to the police who claim or argue that these protesters were engaged in excesses of sorts during the protests?
Yeah, but which one is the more legitimate excess? The excess of destroying your country's rivers and forests, or the excess of blocking traffic? That is why I'm saying that we are confusing the forest with the trees. It is the equivalent of the real criminals because they control power, deploying it to say that the people protesting are in fact infringing petty rules like traffic rules. And yes, I can see how people will say that blocking access to a hospital should cause all of us some distress. But I remember that the same government that seemed so upset that there is blockage of access to hospital for a few minutes kept ambulances sitting in the shed for months because they wanted more ambulances to come, so they will outdoor it for a bigger political effect. While I am sure hundreds of people died for want of ambulances. So it is rich for some of those people, and it is also rich that the same people who are concerned about the loss of a few lives would watch thousands of acres of our natural reserves and forests debased, and watch our rivers polluted, and watch people drinking dirty water and giving birth to deformed babies. That doesn't prick their conscience. Blocking traffic for a few minutes with access to hospitals will cause them so much consternation. It is obvious that this is hypocrisy at its height.
I see. And then you also write that the security forces and politicized, weaponized judiciary of the president who put his job or pledged to put his presidency on the line to fight Galamsey are being silenced or are collaborating to silence citizens who are actually fighting Galamsey. Elaborate on that point about, the politicized and weaponized judiciary. What are you driving at?
What I'm driving at is that the judiciary for the last few years have been a tool of the government. The judiciary, and actually, you remember in my thing, I referred to an article 41K under the Constitution that enjoins all citizens, including the judiciary, to in effect protect the environment. How is it that a judiciary that is patriotic and aware of its obligations to history and to unborn generations of Ghanaians who decide that those who are polluting our rivers and destroying our forests are not criminals and shouldn't be in the dock, but those protesting them should be sentenced to jail and prison terms and denied bail? I can give them an example. In South America, during the Petrobras crisis in Brazil, judges were directing prosecutors to go bring certain people to court to be prosecuted. In the United States here, when corrupt prosecutors tried to give Biden's son a deal, it was a judge who said, no, I am not going to accept this deal because it is unprecedented, it is corrupt, and it is not fair to the public and the judicial process. Our judges can take a cue from them.
I see. What could be the most important steps that President Akufo-Addo could take right now?
Frankly, I am not confident that this president has the credibility to solve this problem. I know that a lot of people would disagree with me when I say that. I believe that neither political party on the eve of an election left to their own free will and devices will solve this problem. And Akufo-Addo is embarrassed. He is going to do things to give the impression that he's doing something. He was the same person 2017 pledged to put his presidency on the line to fight Galamsey. What did he do? He became a front man and clearing agent of Galamsey. So I am not confident that this president can solve this problem. That there must be a bipartisan solution which both parties will sign so that none of them can claim an advantage. And I think that probably more than the president, the person who could broker that and is seen as objective might be Asante. So I encourage him to look at the kind of things he did with Dabon, the kind of things he did to prevent election violence, and step in to urge the leaders of both political parties to cut a bipartisan deal that will take this off the table and country for generations unborn.
I see, Doc. Just before I let you go, over 50 of our young citizens who were protesting Galamsey are still behind bars. We know that a few more are still hitting the streets to demand that the right is done, or you know, the wrong is righted, so to speak. What do you say to these young people?
I say aluta continua. I am very proud of them that finally they have gotten the Fremamus message, Yanara Assassini, and the idea that it is up to us to continue what they did. That is what I and the greatest generation of students did when we protested the PN. I want to suggest that the crisis we face now is even bigger than then. What is at stake now is bigger than democracy. It is the very of our country and the kind of country we can hand over to future generations. So I commend the young people. I urge other people to join them. I urge lawyers them. I urge those of faith to pray for them. I urge those who can march to march with them. And I urge those who can give money to support what they are doing. And I urge judges who understand their judicial oath and are patriots to stand up and defend people. They have the wrong defendants in front of them.
Indeed.
The people who should defend should be those doing Galamsey and polluting our rivers, and the government officials who have their oath of office and are supporting them.
Doc, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us on the subject matter. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, and good evening to all your viewers.
Indeed. Dr. Arthur Kennedy is a founding member of the NPP. But still on the subject, and on the subject of Galamsey, but also on the subject of protests against illegal mining, the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra says it is collaborating with the Conference of Major Superiors of Religious Bodies in Ghana and the Catholic lay faithful and professionals to embark on an environmental prayer protest walk against Galamsey on Friday, the 11th of October, 2024, to take a stand against the devastating effects of Galamsey in Ghana and advocate for immediate action by government to protect the environment, end Galamsey, promote sustainable development, and ensure a livable future for generations to come. Very important call. And that's why I'm bringing in now Father Nicholas Azine for more on this latest move by the Catholic Church. Reverend Father, thank you so much for talking to us.
For having me over also.
Indeed. Now, Rev, this is a prayer protest walk. What does that mean?
Well, we are going differently by praying the rosary on the street, asking God to stir up our minds and hearts so that at least we can address the situation. So we are not going a route home. We are not going to fight anybody on the road, but just to pray along and then make our intentions clear also that we are against what is happening.
And so, I mean, this prayer, what do you hope that this prayer will do for the situation we find ourselves in?
Well, everything we do on earth is not just physical. We also believe that spiritually God would listen to our prayers. He will touch the hearts of those who are supposed to make the move, in order to change the situation. So that is what we also believe in. So it's not only about just physical or maybe just meeting people, but we also have to pray about.
I see. So what is the, the format of this prayer walk? Where does it start? Where does it end? What's going to be happening?
Right. So on the 11th at 10 a.m., all the Catholics we are inviting to gather at the Holy Spirit Cathedral at Adabraka. And then we will hit the principal street. Then we come all the way to Christ the King, where we shall have a mass there. And we are hoping that we could find one of the people working at the Jubilee House. We will also reiterate some of our concerns, which had been made already by the Bishop Conference and then the major superiors.
Rev, someone would say that why did the Catholic Church have to wait this long?
Well, we didn't wait just to start now. We've also been talking to our parishioners, especially those who are living in those areas. Like I mentioned, the bishops have come out. Like I also mentioned, the religious groups also have their superiors. They also came out with a communique. And then also, like we also educate some people. We have an organization in the Catholic Church we call the Governance, Justice and Peace. And also in the religious side, we have Justice, Peace and Integrity of Creation. So all these people have been active all this while. Maybe it doesn't come much on the social media as others are doing, but then the church has not just been quiet, you know, as much as Galamsey or ecology is concerned.
But perhaps, Reverend Father, what we need more now is action and not prayer. Because, you know, as a country, we pray a lot, don't we?
We do. But then we don't also just cease praying because we want to do action. It goes together. As scripture says, prayer and action moves together. So whilst others are into maybe action, others are also backing it with prayer. You know, otherwise it's just going to be one thing. We cannot just do one and leave one. No, that has to go simultaneously. So that is why, whilst others are also meeting the government and meeting some other parties that are concerned, we are also backing it with prayer.
I see. We'll see what God says about that. But, you know, people are asking, we have destroyed our lands, we have destroyed our forests, we have destroyed our waters with our own hands, and now we are running to God to do what for us?
Well, that's the sad part. That is the sad part. That is what we all trying now to find solutions to. And like I said, it's not just about action, but prayers will also have to follow up. You know, Scripture says God created and God gave us the universe. He gave us all these beautiful things to take care of. When God said it was good, God first created all the other things before he created man, so that at least we will come out and take care of it. But it's so sad what is happening. Like I said, it's not just on Galamsey. It's so unfortunate. Even people felling trees and they are not planting back. I'll give you an example. Walk all the way to Diaphragm Place, the riverside, you find heaps of tracks of charcoal come crossing over to the other side, you know. And then you ask yourself, are people replanting, or is just that they are felling trees? So when it comes to taking care as God has given to us, it looks like we're just not bothered so much about it. We are just doing very little. Now, let me extend it a bit. They say Ghana, Green Ghana Day. You and I will know that it's just a name. Much of it doesn't really work. People plant and nobody takes care of it. And then the trees and things we count die. I would say, if not 90%, they will be scorched by the sun. Nobody takes care of it. It's not inculcated in our children in school, you know. And I keep telling friends that when we're talking about Galamsey, it's not only about what is happening there, but even those throwing rubbers and things on the floor. We are equally creating similar problems, you know. So the ecosystem needs to be taken care of. Now, God gave it to us, and we have to take care. We have to also tell God that we are grateful for giving this universe to us to take care of. You know, He gives us the strength. He gives us the everything. Now, one time I was telling somebody, look, if we don't take care of all these things, when the rest of nature speak, you know, when the rest of nature speak, they speak hard, and we listen, and people run. You know, we've seen a lot of issues like that at other places. You know, they don't talk much like how humans talk. But when we destroy, the consequence of it, it comes very heavy on people.
Very well.
Again, I always give an example, like when this COVID was coming. I mean, for me, I heard it was in China. I didn't know when he bought a ticket and then took flight and went to other countries and started killing people. You know, this just to reiterate the fact that the consequence of some of the things we do, when it comes, it bites very, very, very hard on us.
I see, Rev. Hopefully, the good Lord will listen to us the second time. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And God bless you.
God bless you too. All the best. Reverend Father Nicholas Azine is, with the Catholic Bishops Conference of Ghana. They are organizing an environmental prayer protest walk against Galamsey. They say you can join them on this protest on Friday, a week from today, really. Friday, October 11th, 2024. They'll be praying through the streets of Accra, petition the Jubilee House, and hopefully this time around, the good Lord of the Republic of Ghana will listen to us and cleanse our water. Anyway, I'll be right back. You're watching Ghana Tonight. Don't go away.
Yo, Jay, what be this? Why, you go write emails or something?
Charlie, the bills and taxes are for paying. That's why they write plenty like that too. The movement from taxation to production, it make means.
You read the NDC manifesto I send you. That's why you the hustle. Your mama say when he come power, he go exempt micro and small businesses from paying VAT. He also go give 2-year tax holiday to new businesses. So say them go first stand them elect up and grow better before them go start they pay corporate and personal income tax.
Charlie, that they go for me. Oh. Now I make my mind say I no go vote. But this one, dear, if I change my mind, then go vote give John Mahama.
That no be all. He also go scrap e-levy, COVID tax, emission tax, and the 10% betting tax. No.
It go be the e-levy said the cheapest. Swear. I like the tax wrong with you. Charlie, Kwanzaa, what else Mahama talk?
If I talk you everything today, what else I will talk you tomorrow?
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply
This October to December, King's Furniture says thank you Ghana. Enjoy a whopping 25% off on all our domestic kitchen, wardrobes and sofas. Upgrade your home with the finest furniture crafted right here in Ghana. And for your office, we're offering 20% discount on all office furniture because your workspace deserves the best. Whether it's for home or office, now's the time to make your space truly yours and give the gift of comfort and style to your loved ones. Hooray! Promo is from October 1st and ends December 31st, 2024. Visit King's Furniture Showroom today and enjoy these incredible discounts. Locate us in Accra, Kisima, adjacent Melco and Takrade, Tanokrum, Pipeline, right opposite Connect FM, or call us on 050-150-5507 Accra and 050-133-2327. King's Furniture sets a standard. And a big thank you to Ghana.
Luckiest. Star 712 hash.
Luckiest everywhere. 8K. Hey, you can get 8K. Get a packing from your Hey, wait.
You go put it on his tab. This is my man.
Good luck. Hey, Bill Radio. We are star 712. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And now with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, don't mommy who's
here. You're buying
For me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let me choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo-boo.
Maybe straight to option 4. Now, you need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random tickets. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
So come,
Hey, there we are. Tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. T&Cs apply.
Franco Trading Enterprise is still your leading mobile phones, accessories, and your electronic retail outlet. We have products such as mobile phones, television sets ranging from 24 inches to 86 inches, air conditioner from 1.5 horsepower to 2.5 horsepower. We have washing machine, refrigerators, Bluetooth speakers, CCTV cameras, and many more. For bulk purchasing and retailing, visit any of our shops nationwide or our website at www.francotrading.com. You can call the numbers on the screen for any assistance. Please note, do not pick any number apart from these numbers. Franco Trading Enterprise, still the home of quality mobile phones, accessories, and your home appliances.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chesena me ankasa me period na se problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na me coin point no mo hwe me mogya mu no mo hwe bibia na so mo medro a me fire no ene ma won kra mienu foforo kwa na mkwan mu a eba
and everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko end point o mama nuru a ene ne ho eden a watimi asori anante.
That's end point for you.
Of Acrobato.
Hello.
Hey, ohwehwe what che?
Okay.
A free bra wo di end point wa dance. Am me call you no. Me Johnson sema na enkoyie e paso na ma yemre nyina na magina sebema na me be fie for there e ho na nyina jaresa.
You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. I'm free.
I see. Monsieur Name the 200 Ghana Koja so sister. Buy in your 5 cedis. And 40 Ghana. Hey, she container your 40 to 50 pesos. And not 20 Ghana. And a dancing or local do 30 Ghana. Adai, on my bay money away.
Oh, so Casa, me show Dean. Sha, Doctor Midi 20 Ghana. Ah, me pay Cramini 15 Ghana cedi a day. On my benny a woman, ya call ya not yes, by.
Share, and yet Diane Bonkuan a Kosuru. John Dramani Mahama time. Smith 1 bag. Near 24 Ghana cedis. Min Concoto Smith 1 bagger. Yes, say a 108 cedis. I don't know what beton saying. It is the same, say, who see Diana. Say, and I'll be say, John Dramani Mahama Gia. Yabewo,
Yana Bibian from Wakombe Queen,
or come in the end Queen. You better fire 100 pa. No people are buying. What dear Yamo, Ancassa,
media minimum how. Na media, measure my system, number 12.
And yes, sanity, dear. A year Kufu than any bow mea. Yamea Domine said December 7. True. You be true, Master said you too. You be true, Ancassa.
Shall I sit no more to Abapa? A this a cry a papa beba wa brabum. To Abama John Mahamani NDC.
Thanks for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. I'm Kemeni Amano. Now, it's 63 days to the national elections, and we are your election command center. Tonight, we put the spotlight on the National Democratic Party, called out of the NDC. The party has struggled to find its place in national politics, but have been nothing short of relentless and determined. This year, as has been the case since 2016, the party makes its third attempt in the presidential race with a new face. Tonight, I am joined by the NDPC's presidential candidate, Alhaji Mohammed Frimpong. He's joined us via telephone. Alhaji, good evening to you. It's good to talk to you tonight.
Good evening, madam, and greetings to your viewers.
I see. Alhaji, you're number 6 on the ballots. My guess is you are very happy with that.
Yeah, certainly. That is the magical number that has been allotted to me.
Well then, congratulations on qualifying to be on the ballots in the first place.
Thank you very much.
The bigger task is now ahead of you to convince the Ghanaian people that you are the alternative. But what gives? What makes you the alternative?
Well, thank you very much. In the first place, the National Democratic Party enjoys what I call a privileged affinity to our antecedents, political antecedents that informed the framers of the Constitution to fashion out the 4th Republican Constitution. You know, by saying so, what I mean is that they envision the democracy that goes down to the people. You know, and you know, the NDP under my leadership, for that matter, you know, looks upon that as what we call the very primary, I mean, the sufficient primary policy. You know, in other words, our democracy will be better seated when it's fashioned out in the same framework as, you know, has been envisioned, you know, for the 4th Republic. And I think that most of our problems emanate or arise from the lack of, you know, what I call a people's democracy. I mean, democracy that is, you know, allows us to have inclusive and participatory leadership. So that is what we bring on board and make sure that at least all the problems, the teething problems, those that, you know, we know and might, or those that we don't know and might arise in future, will be adequately handled, you know, in that framework of democracy. I see.
And this people democracy, you're convinced will solve the problems of this country at this time?
Well, certainly. You see, that is exactly, you know, what we should do. If we don't, you know, we're talking about inclusive and participatory leadership. By that, you know, even what we have now, we have a semblance of it, but in fact, it lacks functionality. That's the most important thing. After all, if you look at our local governance, it has a lot of the structures that we want to.
But the semblance of it is not dealing with the bread and butter issues for the Ghanaian people, which is very key at this point. Issues around money, the, you know, high cost of living. So how will your people's government tackle that?
Look, every government has come with a policy in one form or the other. You know, we look at governance and leadership as key, you know, and as the primary policy that will ensure that all other policies are catered for, you know, in terms of implementation and realization. You're talking about, let's say, social intervention, you're talking about empowerment, you're talking about poverty alleviation, you know, to what goal? The issue here is that, you know, policies that government enact or, you know, wants to implement, unfortunately, it's like throwing it into the sky without the community's involvement. That is the problem. If the communities are adequately involved, you know, are adequately empowered, most of the nagging problems that we have today will not arise. That's what we're talking about. I mean, you know, I followed you were talking about this Galamsey pen. The Galamsey pen that you're talking about, what is it? See, we are not leveraging our collective will and might as determined by law. You know, that's the most important thing. I mean, before that, you know, people have been crying out that, you know, the whole exercise be given to, let's say, the military, should be commanded, and so on and so forth. But the issue is that the locals themselves know they are suffering or are victims of the contamination of the environment and so on and so forth. But rather unfortunately, people are not adequately empowered. They sit in their communities and think that
Very well.
some empowerment must come from somewhere.
Indeed.
So that's why we're saying that we have the structures already on the ground.
Very well.
All we need is to enforce it with some functionality. And
enforce with some functionality. Alhaji, that's why we are going to put a pin in our conversation. Perhaps we'll pick it up another time. But I do appreciate you talking to us tonight. Thank you so much. Alhaji Mohammed Frimpong is the presidential candidate for the NDP, ending our special Friday feature where we pay attention to some of the candidates who do not receive the limelight like the others do. But also, this is where we draw the curtain for today's program. Before we go, just a quick reminder that at 7 a.m. tomorrow, Alfredo Kansey and his team of panelists will be here to digest and discuss the week's top stories, tell you all that you need to know, all the angles, all the legs will be discussed here on Key Points. And then on Sunday at 2 p.m., make sure you join me as I have a very riveting conversation with Nana Koshia Frimpong Sapon Kuma, who is the presidential candidate of the CPP on hot issues. Remember, it's Sunday, 2 p.m. here on TV3. We'll stream across all our platforms on social media, including YouTube. But that's all tonight. I hope you have yourself a pleasant weekend. I'm Kemeni Amano, and I'm signing out. Bye-bye.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.